Get the Friendo Club set up today and get access to over 700 Going in Raw bonus episodes, our monthly Big Blue predictions challenges, and the ability to ask questions at Going in Raw. We also offer the Steven Larson comic book and exclusive Friendo Club t-shirt. Just hit join here at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson to sign up. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Well, Larson.
Welcome to Steven Larson's Pro Wrestling Podcast. Ruined Pro Wrestling Podcast. It's 2014. I wonder how long we're going to do that. How long are we going to do that for? It'll outwear its welcome eventually.
Yeah. I guess it maybe will coincide with how well the rest of the John Cena's heel run fares, you know?
That's a good point. If it ends up being really popular and buzzworthy, then, maybe we'll keep the shtick alive. But given the card of Backlash, I'm not sure how much more buzzworthy we're going to get here in the near future, but we're going to talk about that because a couple more matches have been added to the Backlash card thanks to this week's Monday Night Raw, which is, of course, what we're going to talk about on the show today. But first, I guess we can talk about this Seth Rollins group. So do they have a name yet or no?
No.
They do not have a name. I saw one screenshot from social media that somebody posted that said that they had this terrible name, and I was like, "Wait, did I miss something on Raw?"
No, they didn't unveil their name.
Good. I wonder if they're gonna have a name. You know, man, factions need names and logos and shirts. They all do. You know.
Yeah, maybe they'll just call it the future. Because that's what Seth is saying. The future of pro wrestling goes through him. He's going to direct. He has the vision for the future of pro wrestling. And apparently it's a vision that Sami Zayn does not necessarily agree with. Because Seth comes out, opens the show. He wants to talk about his vision. Well, I like what they're doing with Seth is he's not necessarily healing it up.
No.
He's just going out there being the Seth Rollins he was 3 months ago.
He's like, this is a concern I have that I think is should be a concern for everybody. Yeah. And and it's like, look, I'm popular. I was shocked. Were you shocked when he mentioned CM Punk's name and they started booing? He was.
Yeah. He was taken aback a bit. But, the way things went down at WrestleMania and the way the Paul Heyman's turn on Punk and Roman was done. And the finish of that match was all really well executed. I'm not surprised that people are on board with what Seth is doing. And add to that he's not healing it up, directly. If you get in his way, yeah. But otherwise, he's not going out there and insulting the crowd or their sports teams or anything like that. He's just being the same person he was before. He just has a new mission.
Yeah, he's got his convictions. He understands his vision, being a visionary, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know that the guy necessarily was in the wrong for what he did to Sami in the end, because when Sami gets on his high horse, I kind of want somebody to do that as well. Multiple Braun Breaker spears, not just normal spears. These aren't like Goldberg spears. These are Braun Breaker spears. Super spears. And then a stomp where his head just goes through the mat. Oh, so exciting. Because Sami Zayn, this is the wrong first guy for Seth Rollins.
It is. I get it. You got two characters who are kind of positioned as really kind of self-righteous.
Mm-hmm.
Except with Seth, there's some dimension to his character, and the way they've kind of booked Sami's character for a while is just very one note.
This is honestly, dude, I feel, and I'm kind of curious what chatters here in a live show and in the comments might say. We're probably in the minority on this one.
Probably.
Sami grates on us when he acts like this. When he's yucking it up with the bloodline, that's fun stuff. I like the relationship between him and Jey, for example.
Yeah.
But when he comes out and he has his the face of what is righteous and true, it's like, brother, come on, man. Nobody needs that.
Mm-hmm. And I thought Seth was very, he just said, Sami, we're friends. Our kids are friends. We've known each other, have been good friends for 20 years. I don't want you to get in the way when what I'm trying to do. Here's an option for you.
Beautiful option.
Fantastic option. Listen, even if Sami doesn't want, because he wants to do things the right way to winning the championship, even if he doesn't want the immediate title shot against the winner of John Cena and Randy Orton, just take the move to SmackDown.
Oh, the title shot should be the thing, though, man.
Oh, it should be, but he has to do everything the right way and earn every opportunity and so on and so forth. But I don't know. Seth put out there, I thought, a very fair offer, and he was very reasonable and diplomatic with Sami. But Sami's like, "Oh, you threatened me, and I'm not going to stand for that."
I mean, look, I get it. If I'm in Sami's position, I kind of look like a punk if I take the offer to leave the brand that I'm on.
But here's the thing. Even if he takes the offer and fails, all right, his character has to undergo some sort of self-evaluation, which is interesting potentially.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Him doing the same thing over and over and over again, reacting the same way to everything, it just gets tiresome. And that's why it's grating, is because it makes his character kind of one-dimensional. Whereas if he takes the offer and falls short, all right, well, it's back to the drawing board for Sami, and you could tell some interesting stories there.
But here's the thing, though. Like, Sami is a prideful person.
Yeah.
Everything that he sort of learned from his days with the Bloodline has informed who he is today. And there is no way he would be able to accept the offer and save face. You can't go and say, how can you present that? How can you present that if you're Sami Zayn?
He told Roman to apologize to Jey. Roman said no, and Sami still teamed with him.
Yeah, because that's fun. And nobody really brought that up again.
Yeah, but getting a title shot could be fun too.
Nobody really brought that up again. It's like nobody was like, hey, dude, this guy never apologized. Why are you still doing this? And he actually did. He actually kind of felt bad. I think there was a sequence where he kind of felt bad, but he was like, I just love doing this stuff too much. That's on me. And maybe he could have presented it the same way. Like, man, Seth, fine, just do your thing, but let me give you a word of warning. This isn't going to end up well for you because somebody's going to fight back the way you fought back the Bloodline.
And even he could say that somebody might be me,
Yeah.
Toss that out there.
Yeah. Maybe there's a way they could have dramatically presented that. But they weren't going to. This is all the setup. Sami versus Seth at Backlash. Or I guess maybe you've got coming up later in May, you've got Saturday night's main event. Because now, for Backlash, let's just talk about this, man. Let's talk about this.
Oh, dear.
We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the Backlash card. Right now, you got Cena Orton, which, what are the odds right now that that's going to be a banger match? Is it 50-50? Is it 30-70 that, it's going to be a banger match? 70,
What's
it's going to be
your definition of a banger?
Entertaining. At this point, entertaining.
The
I'm
odds
not asking for Gunther Sheamus.
1585 in favor of being entertaining.
15? You're giving it a 15% chance?
Did you watch WrestleMania? I feel like I'm being pretty generous there with 15.
You can't give it 20% that these
I feel
two
like I'm
veterans?
I feel like I'm being pretty darn generous with 15.
I'm going to say glass half full and say 25% chance. 75% chance.
The glass would be quarter full, Steve.
It's going to, well, it's the metaphor is the metaphor doesn't deal with fractions, Larson, or percentages, I should say.
Never mind.
So you got that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got now
Lyra versus Becky. That's happening.
That's going to be a banger match.
That'll be really good.
So you got one banger match, one 15 to 25% loser match.
Yeah.
Or I should say, I'm sorry, 75 to 85% loser match. You got Gunther versus a commentator, Larson. Pat McAfee has challenged and has been granted a match against the ring general, Gunther, at Backlash. Pat McAfee hasn't been in a real match since 2022, I think, 2023. He had an 11-minute match with Baron Corbin. He hasn't really been in an impressive match, I don't think, since like 2020 in NXT. He had 2 there, War Games match and an Adam Cole match.
The Adam Cole match was all right.
The Adam Cole match, yeah, because it's Adam Cole. 2020 Adam Cole, especially. I'm assuming now. I don't know what his like, outside WWE schedule looks like. Is something coming up, like in terms of the sports stuff? Because like baseball season's coming up, isn't it?
Baseball season's already happening.
Okay, so we're but he doesn't do baseball.
No, football doesn't start till college football doesn't start till August.
Yeah. So I don't. This might not. I don't unless
maybe
he has other stuff.
The reason he's actually doing the match is because he's got nothing coming up.
Well, I was hoping it'd be to write him off, was my point.
That could be, but yeah, in terms of that, I don't know. If this is any more than a 2-minute destruction by Gunther's part, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This should not be a competitive. It will be, but it should not be a competitive match.
Right. It's definitely going to be a competitive match. And that's sort of the problem. I'm dicking with our layout right now.
Because I don't think they're going to have Pat. I could be wrong. He wrestles so rarely.
Yeah.
And regardless of, our thoughts about him in terms of his commentary, I understand he's got a fan base within WWE, a massive fan base outside of WWE.
Yeah.
And given all those things, I doubt they're going to have him in the ring for 3 minutes to get absolutely annihilated by Gunther. It's going to be a 12-minute competitive match.
Yeah.
That Gunther will just kind of like barely win.
I'd be surprised.
I mean, maybe
he's not
at the
going to
end,
eke out a win.
Maybe by the end, he'll string together 3 power bombs and chop him in the back or something like that. It's at the end, it's a fairly emphatic win, but the match itself is competitive when it shouldn't be.
I get the feeling. My gut says it's going to be 8 minutes competitive. The last 4 minutes, Gunther just completely murdering this guy. I mean, Pat's thesis or his punctuation is, if I die, I die. I do kind of get the feeling. Pat's a very busy guy. Even if you take, his college game day obligations out of it. Even if you take that out of it, the guy probably does have other projects.
Oh, yeah.
And so I feel like him, saying, if I die, I die. We have been asked the question many times, what do you do with Gunther? How do you keep him relevant? Now, a competitive Pat McAfee match is not that. However, him doing something kind of shocking and brutal, I think is a good way to kind of keep him, hot in the very short term. You need something. Well, hold on, let me finish. And if you have the last 4 minutes of this match where after McAfee's gotten a bunch of hope spots and then it's sort of revealed that Gunther has been kind of toying with him, not taking him seriously, and that's why he finds himself in a competitive match. And then he realizes, all right, I need to stop dicking around. And for the last 4 minutes completely annihilates the guy. Maybe they let him bleed. Then I think that's not hurting Gunther as long as you put him in something else that's good, or you put him into something that's good after that.
I don't necessarily think if that scenario happens, it's necessarily going to hurt Gunther, but I don't necessarily know if it's going to revive the aura of Gunther when he's doing that against the commentator. You know what I mean?
If it's shockingly brutal, I think there's something to be said about, well, Pat McAfee's not an actual wrestler, so Gunther shouldn't be going this hard against him, but he's making an example out of the guy. So yeah, I don't know. I think
it's different if he was in there against, I'm just going to throw a name out there, Damian Priest. Where he has a match against Damian, it's that 8 minutes competitive, and the last 4 minutes it's just uncomfortably violent where Gunther wrecks him. That would do a lot more for Gunther than, beating Pat McAfee.
I mean, I understand what you're saying in terms of Damian Priest as a competitive guy, so it's more impressive.
And he's a former world champion, too.
Right. More impressive, yes, but that's not my point. My point is, Pat's beloved. He's not a wrestler. And so for Gunther to victimize somebody who really doesn't have a shot isn't impressive. It is, this guy is dastardly. this guy is a villain. This guy is gnarly, and him dissecting and what people would consider, oh, poor Pat McAfee, because he's popular. He's probably more popular than Damian Priest, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It's more like he's been victimized. Priest goes in as a former world champion.
Yeah.
He knows what's coming. Pat McAfee goes in there kind of like an idiot. He's this teddy bear figure in the community. He gets victimized by Gunther. That makes him a bigger villain. Not more impressive, a bigger villain.
I'm not interested in seeing it, though, personally.
Well, neither am I. I'm just saying I can understand that's why they're doing it. I understand that point of view.
Let's talk about this real quick before we get to the breakdown of Raw. We got seemingly a World Heavyweight Championship match going to happen at Backlash. It's like Jey Uso is going to defend against Logan Paul. Which I guess makes it, I understand now why Logan got the win at WrestleMania, because if he's going to be challenged for the World Heavyweight Championship, he shouldn't come in proudly after taking an L. But put this in the column of another match I have no desire to see. Jay is going to win, but like the more Logan is involved in weekly television, just the more he comes across as not up to the task to be there on a weekly basis. Like his promos are just all about calling the crowd stupid. That's it. That's all he did last night. He was like berating the crowd in Kansas City where, their football team has won, 3 Super Bowls? Saying, oh, you don't know what a real winner looks like.
Yeah.
All right, that falls flat, buddy. All right?
Yeah.
And his last few matches have not been to the same quality they were before, when obviously he had a ton of time to work on them. Yeah. As far as Jay getting a good matchup for his first feud after WrestleMania, this ain't it. It seems like a lot of matches at Backlash, they want to focus more on getting eyeballs on the card as opposed to necessarily putting on compelling stories or compelling matches.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Backlash seems to be getting, and I'm kind of curious what Saturday night's main event. I think it's on the 24th, I'm not mistaken.
Yes, towards the end of May, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this is sort of like going to be 10 matches in May. And it seems like Backlash is getting kind of like, I don't know, the worst of it.
Yeah, the short end of it, yeah.
Kind of. Because like the Logan Paul and Pat McAfee two for there is kind of gnarly. Logan Paul is capable of putting on good matches when he has somebody in the ring carrying him to that. I love Jey Uso. I think, obviously he's like top 3 most popular guy on the roster. I don't know that he is that guy to carry a good match with Logan Paul. I don't know that he's that guy. I mean, we've seen people do that, and I think they've been more kind of capable of doing that in the ring. And so this is not a match. Number one, I mean, you're right about Logan Paul. Like his actual record, it just doesn't make any sense. But then it's wrestling, so you just write it in. It's whatever.
No, I know.
But yeah, I don't need to see Logan Paul on my television. I don't either. I just don't think that he offers. I don't think he offers much.
No, he doesn't at this point. When he was starting out, you can make the case, well, he's putting on interesting matches and he's new to the product, therefore he'll get eyeballs on it because there's the curiosity factor. But now that he's on a more regular basis, it just shows his weaknesses as it relates to being a pro wrestler. He's not a good promo. He's not. And unless he has a lot of time to work on his matches, he's in there with somebody who can carry him to a good match, his matches are mediocre. At best, and I just in terms of what he offers as a performer on TV, I have no desire to see him on my television. Add to that everything else that comes with Logan Paul, I absolutely have no desire to see him on my TV.
Well, I mean, dude, here's the thing. If you want to be real about it, for me
all
all the stuff, the crypto scam stuff, all
the moldy lunch meals, all that stuff. Yeah.
It's just, it's somebody who I just don't care to see.
Mm-hmm.
If he was the most, if he was a philanthropist, if he was a guy who committed many charitable acts and is well documented for doing that, I'd probably be fine with it. That's just being completely honest about it. I'd probably be completely fine with it.
The outside of the ring stuff, obviously informs my opinion of him a great deal. Obviously.
I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. I'd be like, hey, you know what? I'm interested in seeing this guy grow as a professional wrestler. You know, and I'm fine admitting that. You know, people, because when I talk about this over Wrestle Juice, you know, I've seen people, I think probably over here too, people saying, "Oh, just admit you hate Logan Paul," and you know, what don't you understand about that?
We've been pretty upfront about that, haven't we?
He just seems like a pile of shit.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't want to see him. And look, there might be a lot of other wrestlers on the roster that are pieces of shit, but I'm not exposed to that. As long as they're a piece of shit in their private life and don't expose me to it, then I'm not going to have room to judge. That's just the bottom line with him. He seems like a crappy person. Therefore, I don't want to see him. When Vince McMahon, I never really cared to see on my television once it really started going out what was going on. Like, I just, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, like, I'm able to take his in-ring work when it's good and say, hey, you know what? The match was decent. The AJ match wasn't. It has nothing to do with my feelings about the man as a person. It's just I didn't think it was a good match.
Nor did I.
Thought it was poorly constructed. I thought that the obsession with the drones was weird.
It was weird.
So, you know, I don't know. It is what it is. Honestly, it has nothing to do with him, you know, bringing the president on the podcast either. It has nothing to do with that. It's like everything else in that I've ever seen with this guy has been like, why is this person... Why do I have to see this? You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't care to see him on my TV.
That's where I am on that.
Full stop. And like we've been pretty upfront about that for many months, that we don't like him, we don't want to see him. I don't know why people are getting on you seemingly about, just go ahead and say you don't like him.
It ain't a gotcha.
No, we've been saying for months.
We're very clear about this.
Yes.
So, anyways. Before we get more worked up, Larson, we have a sponsor for this week's episodes. Let's go ahead and talk about them.
Let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsor, Tempo. Steve. I feel pretty comfortable saying that you and I know a lot, and I mean a lot, about fast food.
Probably too much.
Yeah, you could probably make that point. There have been countless instances where we've been busy or maybe time was tight, and we had to settle for a lump, a greasy meat product at mealtime.
Yeah, man. So listen here. My whole concept of fast food changed when I discovered Tempo. Tempo is a weekly delivery service that allows you to select from over 20 mindful meal choices that are crafted to cook in just 3 minutes, and they're delivered fresh right to your door.
That's right. Tempo's dietitian-approved menu takes all the guesswork out of eating well. They've got new recipes each week, like tomato pesto meatballs and braised red wine beef, that are made with real, nutrient-rich ingredients which make it easy to keep up with your healthy lifestyle so you can eat well without sacrificing taste or convenience.
For a limited time, Tempo is offering Going In Raw listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/raw. That's tempomeals.com/raw for 60% off your first box. Tempomeals.com/raw. Rules and restrictions may apply. We had a super chat here from Calvin, who says, thank you, Steve, for mentioning Soundgarden's 4th of July. Been listening to it constantly since. Hey, Calvin, did you guys know we have a Soundgarden homage shirt that I'm wearing right now?
He's wearing it right now. 4th of July is a great song.
That is a great song, man. That'd be a decent wrestling theme. It's like, oh, my God, this dude's coming out, because it starts out. Dun, 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 dun. Oh,
that heavy riffing. Yeah.
That's a good one.
It is a great song.
Also, of course, we've got some new merch over at friendoshop.com, including, because by popular demand, people are requesting this one, man. We've got the shirt hat package here, friendoshop.com. It's a Steve and Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast shirt. It's just Arial black font on a black shirt. It's just in white. It's just, hey, what are you a fan of? What is this? Well, it says right here, Steve and Larson's Pro Wrestling Podcast. Yeah. You can put it on a hat as well. And then, of course, to celebrate 50,000 subs over at my Wrestle Juice channel, we've got the You Can't Steve Me Wrestle Juice John Cena homage shirt. Art. This is not AI art, by the way. This is Steve here original art right there. It's Steve here of me. I drew me, and then it's me with the shirt that he's wearing. That it is that shirt. And I got the CM Punk Signature Series. It's a lovely embroidered hat that says "You can't Steve me," and then the shirt right here with some colors that pop. Back that right there. Whoop. Use promo code Friendo 2024. Also, the May Predictions Challenge. We're on the road to that, including Backlash and Double or Nothing. We are currently negotiating the prize for that. Of course, the WrestleMania Predictions Challenge was the biggest one ever. Backlash, we're heading into that hot. More prize on the line. Another hat on the line. This one's going to be Viper themed, Larson. The hat. Oh. I've yet to design it, but I'm going to do that.
Can I suggest taking inspiration from Snake Man from the movie Dreamscape?
No, because that means I'll have to look up reference, and he was terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Dreamscape #1 is a freaky ass movie.
It is a messed up movie.
It is messed up. When I was a kid, I used to watch it, and it was this weird thing because there's boobies in it, and as a kid, I'm like, oh man. But then there's also Snake Man, so it's whoa, the dangers of sex, maybe? I don't know. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of symbolism and metaphor going on there.
Yeah.
And so no, I'm not going to do that. But it's probably going to be cheesy tribal because Randy Orton, his logo stuff is often very tribal.
You should find out what font he uses for his name on the back
of
his trunks.
Yeah.
That's good.
Dave Matuszek says, speaking of Soundgarden, they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. Yeah.
Hey, that's great to hear.
That's cool. Then I thought we had another one, but nope. We don't.
So people in chat have been talking about the price for SummerSlam tickets. Get this, Steve. If you wanted front row center, ringside, TV side, they're sold out already, so you can't get them. You have to pay a pretty hefty sum to the tune of $40,000 per ticket.
For the best seat in the house, $40,000.
Yeah.
Do you get hit by an ATV if you get it?
Well, that's not guaranteed. This is what you do get, though.
You get the Stone Cold ATV experience. I'll run right into the barricade right in front of you, and Nick Khan will come right over and be like, what?
You get tickets, prime seats for both nights of SummerSlam. You get in-ring photo op.
In-ring?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's still not worth $40,000. Private transportation, elite welcome event, private sections at all-inclusive pre-show hospitality. Superstar appearances by Kevin Nash and more.
Kevin Nash? Big Daddy Cool? Diesel?
$40,000, though.
Big Sexy the Giant Killer.
Post-show press conference access and desk photo op. You can sit at the same desk that Triple H sat at.
Ooh.
And more. Tickets to Raw and SmackDown as well.
Well, probably that 40,000 tariffs.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make a lick of sense.
Oh man, Lesia Harding's here. Alicia Harding. God damn it. She's been gone for so long.
Yeah.
I just pronounce her name. She says, miss you guys. Thank you for the super chat so much. It is so much. Great to see you.
And they got a non-center front row that's a value at $32,500.
Tariffs, man, they're killing us. They're killing it.
Wow.
Do they have a comparison? It's pre-tariffs, it would have been this price.
Oh, maybe. They don't. Yeah, pre-tariffs would have been $2,000.
Yeah, right. Oh man, I'm sorry, man. I'm getting in some trouble.
Markup.
Let's talk about Raw. Oh man. So anyways, we'll just dive into the nitty gritty here. So it opened up with Seth Rollins music, him, Braun, and Heyman all come down. Seth is wearing sunglasses that have eyes on the sunglasses. Yeah. What did you think of that? What did you think of his fit?
I loved it. I thought the jacket was great. The pants look super comfy.
Dude, this is the thing. You know how I was talking to Maggie about this last night. The one thing that you hate in life is wind.
I can't stand wind.
Right.
Well, it's not the one thing I dislike in life, but I dislike wind quite a bit.
You hate a lot of stuff, but wind is up there. I hate when pants go under my shoes.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either.
And I noticed that Seth has that going on last night, and that's why this fit gets a capital F from me. Yeah, The entire thing ruined because the pants were going under the feet.
Well, I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't give it an F. That's up to him. If he's cool with that, then that's his choice. But I thought the jacket was great, sunglasses great, pants were cool, apart from stepping on them.
Yeah.
Like the look of it, I thought was top notch.
Larson gives it an A. So he says, of course, welcome to Monday Night Rollins. I'm your host, revolutionary, visionary, Seth Rollins. He says, you're looking also at the winner of the main event of WrestleMania. He says, I know it's a little difficult for some of you who still want to chant for CM Punk, and they started booing. And he was like, the fuck is going on right now? That was unexpected to him.
Oh, people were singing loud during his entrance to his theme, too.
Oh, yeah, they were. But I think what you said at the head of the show is right, dude. You do something cool, they're going to be into you. And they're going to turn on whoever is anti-you.
Exactly.
So he says, I know it might be painful for some who want to put your fingers in the air for Roman Reigns. They actually did oblige on that one. They started chanting OTC. He says, but what you're looking at in this ring is the future of our industry. The future runs through one man, not Punk, not Reigns, not Cena, not Jey Uso, not Cody Rhodes. It's the future with Paul Heyman to my left, Braun Breaker to my right. It runs through Seth Rollins. That brings out Sami. Oh, dear. These guys, boy, they really talk a lot here.
Yeah, they did. So Sami comes out, grabs the mic. Seth welcomes him, says, you've been out for a while. It's good to see you back. I assume you watched Mania. And Sami says, I saw the main event. Very good. How long have we been friends? He says, I feel like I need to come out as a friend and tell you to your face this is a load of crap. How much time do you spend talking about CM Punk and Roman Reigns? The one thing they have in common stands over your shoulder now. How are you any different? And then Seth says, you aren't comparing me to them, are you? How can it not be different? Sami says, oh, I thought you always had this hatred for Punk and seemed so self-righteous talking about Roman, but I think you were just jealous to be in the position where they were in. And Seth says, I'm not Punk or Roman. This is about my vision for the future. And Sami's like, oh, what a coincidence. The vision for this whole industry always revolves around Seth Rollins being front and center. And Seth says, because I'm the best man for the job. And Sami says, that's the point. It's not a coincidence. It's hypocritical. You spend all this time talking about bloodline, this or that. How is it different? You got your wise man here and your little dog over there talking about Braun, who, by the way, if he keeps looking at me, is going to get his head kicked in. And Seth's like, well, calm down. He says, what is this? You came here to be honest with me? Let me be honest with you. This is the vision for the future. You're either with us or you become a target. It's not a threat. I don't want you to be that, a target. It doesn't matter if I hate you or love you. If you stand in my way, you're going to be a target, though. So let's find a solution. It doesn't have to come to blows. Wise man, pull some strings. Let's get him moved off Monday Night Raw. It's not a threat, but you're clearly not buying in. So maybe we can hash this out. Not a threat. Like Seth is clear to say, not a threat. Not a threat.
I like that he didn't say hash it out. We can cash you out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which is a great way of putting it. It's like, hey, look, man, you'll get hooked up. Let us do this thing here. It's funny because reading this back, Sami is so in the wrong here. Like he got rid of, maybe not with Punk, but he got rid of Roman Reigns. And I know Sami is biased because he loves the bloodline and is willing to put up with Roman Reigns being a tyrant just so he can hang with those guys.
I know,
but like. That alone, Sami's in the wrong here.
Yeah, I'm not buying into what Sami's got to say here. He says it's an offer, it's a favor. Just think about it. We need an answer by the end of the night, though. So Seth, Heyman, Braun leave after Braun has a bit of a stare down with Sami. So later on, we're backstage, and Sami's talking to Otis in the locker room. Paul Heyman walks in, asks Otis if he could talk to Sami alone. So he says, Sami, I thought about what you said earlier. You know, we go back. We're OG bloodline. And Sami says, well, you blew up the rest of the bloodline at WrestleMania. And Paul says, I respected why you walked away, maybe from the bloodline. Maybe one day you'll respect why I left. But I'm here to talk Seth Rollins. He views himself as the future of this industry, and whether he is or he isn't, that's how he views himself. And Braun is the dog at the gate. And whether he is or he isn't, he's demanding a match with you. We can't say no to that because Braun is the key to our plans. But Seth views you with such reverence, he is offering you a pass. If you accept this trade to SmackDown, starting this Friday, everybody wins. I spoke to Pierce, Aldis, and once you go to SmackDown, you're going to face the winner of John Cena versus Randy Orton. Instant title contender. That's how much Seth thinks of you. Think of your future and your family. You can live in the future or you can die in the past. So Heyman gets up and leaves, and Braun's standing in the doorway of the locker room. So he leaves, and then Becky walks down to the ring for her promo. We'll talk about it in a little bit. So later on, Sami's backstage, and Karrion Kross walks up, and he just says, "You got a huge decision to make tonight. Hope you make the correct one."
I like how they frame him too, because then he walks past Sami, and you see him do this really goofy smile behind his back.
Yeah.
Really
At that point, you knew Sami.
villainous.
Well, I mean, I knew as soon as Seth put the offer out that Sami was going to not take it. But once Karrion gets in there,
You know, it's so funny too, because it really would have been much more interesting if Sami would have taken especially after the title shot was up there, and he could have been like warning people, "Hey, what Seth?" But like, it's funny because when Sami says, "Oh, Paul, you left the rest of the bloodline, you split up the rest of the bloodline," he got powerbombed through a table. Where was Roman? Like, that was the thing. The points that Seth was making, he was manipulated by his quote-unquote best friend, CM Punk. Just to get at Roman, he said, "You come with me," putting him through all sorts of emotional distress.
yeah,
Seth is in the right here.
yeah, he is 1,000%.
That's what makes it good, and I hope he doesn't more cartoonishly heel it up.
I hope so. I like that he's just the same person he was 3 weeks ago. It's just, again, like he has a new mission. He's just trying to follow through on his mission. People get in his way. Well, all right, you're in my way. I'm sorry, but this is what has to happen.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know, it's instead of him cutting, like I said, cutting heel promos on the crowd. We don't need that.
Nope.
We don't need that. Seth's in a good spot with his character right now, and don't just turn him into a typical heel just to do it because you want him to get heat. Keep him an interesting character.
Yeah.
So later on, Sami's backstage. Jey walks up to him and pretty much says, "You got a huge decision. Whatever you decide, just decide what's best for you." They hug. And so Sami walks off. Jey, and I guess maybe Logan Paul was slow getting into position or something, because they linger on Jey for a while, and then Logan hits him with a punch, even though he's never knocked anybody out really with that right hand of his. That bugs me. I don't know why. It's a silly pro wrestling thing because he's boxed, but I don't think he's ever knocked anybody out. Oh, he's got titanium in that fist.
Yeah, I know. So at the top of the third hour, Rollins comes back out, and he wants to hear Sami's decision. And then he says, "Yeah, come on out." So Sami comes out, gets a mic. Seth says, "Before we get to the decision, I thought a lot since earlier. Hear me out. You're putting me in a difficult position. We go back a long way, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to you. I get it. You don't like Braun or Heyman, but this is 20 years of friendship. So you came back last week and celebrated with Jey last week because you were friends. When you came out tonight, I thought I would have gotten the same respect. I know you don't agree with it, but we are the way forward. I believe with my whole heart that this is the vision for the best future of WWE. The fact that you don't believe in me, that hurts." He says, "This business tears relationships and friendships apart. And everything that's been said and done, how many true friends can you count that you've made? Less than 5? He says, for me, you're one of those true friends. When my baby was born, you were one of the first people I called. You became a father yourself. I was scared. I came to you and you gave me some of the best advice I've ever received in my life, and I'm forever grateful. Allow me to return the favor and give you some advice to save your life." He says, "Take the past, take the way out. Whatever Heyman has lined up, take it. If you stay here and don't believe in me, bad things are going to happen. But I love you and don't want that to happen. Take the out, I beg you." Sami says, "If I hurt your feelings as a friend, I'm sorry. Everything you're saying is true. Our friendship transcends this business. We're real friends. Outside of the ring, that's totally true." He says, "When it comes to everything you say inside this ring, I think you're playing games." He says, "You know exactly what cards to play since we're so close. I told you how much it hurts to have the world championship eluding me, and now you dangle it in front of me. So friend or not, for as long as you've known me, have you ever known me to run away? You talk hurt feelings. I'll not stand here while my friend threatens me. If I don't acquiesce, I become a target, right? I've been a target 1,000 times before, but I cannot live with being extorted or blackmailed. I will not be threatened." He says, "I will win a championship, become world champion. When I do, it's because of no favors from anyone, but me doing it the right way. Buddy, as a friend, I respect and love you, but this is me telling you, to go to hell. So Braun Breaker gets his match against Sami Zayn right after that.
Yeah.
Sami's in his just normal clothes. He takes off his shirt. He's just wearing pants.
Yeah.
And the match doesn't go well for Sami because Braun Breaker completely kills this guy.
Yeah. Spears him. So he's looking for Sami looking for a Helluva kick. Get a spear from Braun. So Braun looks over to Seth, and Seth just gives him a nod. Braun hits Sami with another spear. And so Sami rolls to the apron, and Seth yells at him, "There's still time. Take the deal. Take the out. It doesn't have to be this way. Take it." Sami says, "Go to hell." So then Seth, does the motion to Braun. Braun does the super spear thing where he runs all the way around the ring. Just wrecks him. So then they bring, security producers come out, refs. They bring Sami into the ring. And Braun just wants to get at Sami some more, so Seth kind of holds him back and says, "There are people who deserve our empathy and compassion, but he made his bed and has to lie in it." So then Seth hits Sami with a stomp. So then, they all pose together to end the show.
Yeah. Yep.
We mentioned Becky's heel turn. She was going to talk about it. We get that, or we're going to talk about that next. So she comes to the ring. She says, "The man has come around to Kansas City. Let's get down to business."
This is also like a lot of talking here. You don't have to go through this verbatim.
We don't need to do the mystery thing. I attacked Bayley.
Yeah, that was an interesting tag. I like that. I like that it was like, oh, we got security footage. She was just like, I attacked her. She attacked me relentlessly back during her damage control days. So, like, it's me getting back at her.
Yeah. And she says, "That brings me to Lyra. My enemy is my friend, but the friend of my enemy is my enemy." She says, "It works both ways." He says, by the time Lyra tagged with her to win the tag titles, it was kind of too late for Lyra. So this brings out Lyra. And she says, "Do you know how many in that locker room warned me about you? Bayley was one of the first. She told me you'd step on anybody's throat if it meant getting ahead. I didn't buy any of it because I was caught up in the stupid dream of winning the tag titles at Mania, and I lost sight of it because of the hopes I had for you." She says, "It took several manhandle slams, but I see you exactly for who you are. The illusion of Becky Lynch is dead." That leads to her challenging Becky for a match at Backlash for the Intercontinental title.
Mm-hmm.
She says, "I'm going to show that I'm going to be I'm going to be a better person than you, and I already know that I'm a better wrestler than you."
I thought this is the strongest Lyra promo I've seen. And you and I have talked about this, like crafting good stories for people who have done everything already. And how Becky is kind of in uncharted waters because she's like her and Charlotte, maybe Bayley to a degree, are the only women who have really kind of done everything, still have plenty of, gas left in the tank in terms of a career. Where do you go for them from here? But you got to tell some good stories. And I think this heel turn for Becky, it's logical, makes some amount of sense. But also, if it's going to be used to make people like Lyra more interesting, then that's what you got to do. That's the way to go about it. And that's what I like seeing here with this promo right here with Becky and Lyra. I think it was really strong.
Like we've been saying for a while that we're really into Lyra's in-ring work, but they need to do something in terms of fleshing out her character. And now we get this story, which after this promo feels like that's the direction they're heading in, which is great.
Yeah.
Because that's what's really going to help her get over with an audience. She's a great wrestler, and she's gotten over with, her entrance and her in-ring ability. But now if she can continually drop good promos and they can work on developing her character, sky's the limit at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it is going to be interesting because the 20 here says, well, the crowd cheer for Becky despite the heel turn. Time will tell if they're going to be able to get Becky and Lyra to the place they want them to be in the story. So the crowd is kind of responding in the way that they want them to respond. I mean, some people just have a hard time viewing Becky as anything but a person you want to cheer. And that is a challenge for people who have been so popular for such a long time as a good guy. But if they tell the right story in the right manner, I feel confident they'll get to that point. But obviously, this is leading to a larger feud between Becky and Bayley, which should be really, really good as well. I mean, that's like kind of a big name feud right there that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. So it seems like not only is Roxanne Perez getting called up to main roster, maybe Julia is as well. So Rhea Ripley had a match against Roxanne Perez that ended in a DQ because Julia interfered. So Julia makes her way ringside. Roxanne rolls up. Rhea gets a 2. Roxanne hits a face. Rhea hits the face buster. Knee gets a 2 count there. So Roxanne slaps Rhea, and she eats a huge kick to the face, and Julia distracts Rhea. So Roxanne rolls up Rhea. Rhea escapes that, hits a headbutt. She's looking for a riptide, and Julia runs to the ring to break it up. So they throw the match out. So Julia and Roxanne are attacking Rhea. Io runs down to make the save. She takes out Roxanne, hits a stomp on Julia. She's looking for a springboard as Julia attacks her, and Rhea gets back in. And so Julia and Roxanne leave the ring. It's kind of interesting. Obviously the last 2 weeks we've seen Roxanne, Julia, and Stephanie Vecchio all on Raw. Stephanie had in the match last night. I don't know since we don't know when the draft's going to happen, we can't even really get any sort of sense what the plans are, but it seems like, I don't know about all 3 of them, but either Roxanne's getting called up, Roxanne and Julia, maybe Roxanne, Julia, and Stephanie Vecchio whenever the draft happens.
I wonder if I have no idea. I didn't look at like the NXT ratings from last week. I wonder if they have some sort of metric, because Stephanie is, I get the feeling that Roxanne definitely is going to get the call up.
Yeah.
Julia, maybe, given that, they're like linked up, and this is probably leading to a tag team match with Rhea and Io, either at Backlash or at Saturday Night's main event.
Yeah.
Stephanie's an interesting case because, all 3 of them are going up there. You would have thought that Jordan Grace, if the original reporting was true, she was going to spend a small amount of time in NXT, would be getting this spot. But maybe they're thinking Stephanie is so popular. Like, you see the response she's getting just on her second match on Raw. She's so over.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to put her on main roster, and maybe all 3 of them will come up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got several people, mainly Jordan Grace. If all 3 of them come up, Jordan's going to be champion then in NXT to hold it down there.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have metrics to suggest, hey, we put Stephanie on Raw last week. A bunch of people came over from Raw to NXT to watch.
That could be.
Maybe, they're like, hey, let's just keep this up for a couple weeks and bring some people over to NXT. But I mean, man, that was a hell of a match last night between Stephanie and Ivy Nile too. Yeah. I love the fact that she was doing what do they call what is it? The thing where she
Devil's Kiss?
The Devil's Kiss.
Yeah.
Going into commercial basically, and then they went to commercial, did a bunch of stuff, and then they came back out of commercial still doing the Devil's. I thought that was really clever.
That was good.
But
people in chat here are mentioning that according to PW Insider, Roxanne and Julia have both been called up.
Okay. All right. That's not surprising. I wonder if Stephanie, if it's just a matter of, hey, you know what? She is going to bring people back over to NXT with
That's
her.
Entirely possible.
The more we put her on Raw, so as long as logistically it makes sense, we're going to continue to do that.
That could be.
Yeah.
We heard from Rusev for the first time since his WWE return, and not only did he reference the Redeemer in this promo, there were some similarities.
Oh, big time! This made me very happy to see that this was the approach.
It definitely seemed like it's a character more in line with something that he would probably want to do as opposed to continuing what he was doing before he left. So he says, once upon a time, I had it all. The gold, the fame, the tank at WrestleMania, but then I lost myself. I left WWE and fell into the abyss. But that's where I found myself, fixed myself, redeemed myself. I will not fight for a woman that isn't mine or a flag that never was. I had an epiphany. I was free to crush people not because I was told to, because I wanted to. I'll use my hands and jacked body for good, destroy those who wasted their talents like I did, and I will perfect them all for good. Your lack of suffering ends now. I will hunt you, forgive, and fix you like I fixed myself. But choose your next steps wisely. A righteous man saving you will be no hardship. Ending you will be no loss.
I like
Really
because
good stuff.
there's always like a little bit of comedy in it.
Exactly.
The gold, the fame, the tank at WrestleMania.
I know.
But he does it completely straight faced.
I will use my hands and jack body for good. Yeah.
The big question is, will they be more successful in translating this character when it comes to telling actual stories with it than they were in AEW? That sort of remains to be seen.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I thought his initial run, once he started the Redeemer character, all the way up until I still don't understand why, lost the TNT title to Sami, was all really good stuff.
Yeah, it was. It was. The title win against Darby, still like my favorite AEW moment.
Yeah. And I appreciate they tried to justify the loss because he had the one weakness. His neck was bad.
Yeah.
But then after losing to Sami, they can never kind of rekindle that magic they had with that first run as the Redeemer, try as they might. And, and if whatever issues that Tony and Miro had as far as getting on the same page creatively, if, how much that got in the way, don't know. But, it always seemed like, so often someone leaves WWE and goes somewhere else, and you're like, we can finally see what they can do with this character or in ring. And now it's kind of the inverse, where we have Rusev, who had this really interesting character in AEW. Seemingly, he's carrying elements of that over to WWE. Maybe we could finally see what he can do with this character.
When he references people who need to be fixed, people who have basically wasted their talents, what would make for a good first feud to...
Well, he's facing Otis next week on
it ain't that. It ain't that.
Let's see who's on Raw. Austin Theory.
Oh, that's a great one, actually. That's a great one. Dude, if there was a thing where, because I saw some people earlier in the show in chat say they had seen suggestions that Theory would make for a good member of Seth's crew.
Yeah.
Which Austin is so cold right now. So cold. But if you heat him up a little bit with Rusev and then maybe use that feud to get him into Seth's crew, then you might be onto something.
Get him out of A-Town Down Under, which gets him into Seth's group.
Yeah. You got to leave that in the pit. Boy, that's cold. What did that guy do?
Another name, Tyler Bate. Someone who's a great wrestler. Hasn't really done much. I mean, he's been injured part of it. His main roster run.
Man, Tyler Bate is colder than Otis, buddy. You gotta heat that up before he gets to Rusev.
I'm just bringing up names that would be good feuds.
Yeah,
that fits into what his thesis is.
Yeah, I think Dunn. I think Pete Dunn maybe.
Yeah,
but Bate they gotta.
Well, you have Rusev have the match with Tyler Bate. Wrexham, and that angers Pete Dunne, and that's where you get to the Rusev Pete Dunne feud.
Jack Bauer says Ilya when he comes back. Ilya and Rusev, just based on the intensity, would be really, really interesting. Yeah. You got to trade some wins. You can't just have Ilya come in, and you can't just have Rusev feud with people just for them to beat him, Yeah. And then he beats like Otis,
Yeah. So we mentioned this earlier. Pat McAfee addresses Gunther's attack, leads to a challenge for Backlash.
Boy, Chris Garrix is really doing Lord's work this week, wasn't he?
Yeah. It was a long promo, but I'll give it to Pat.
There was a lot of talking.
It was a good promo from Pat. It was very impassioned. They let him
It was
very good.
It was.
So he grabs the mic. He stands on the announce table, and he says, "It's my honor to get a chance to chat in the city of the home of the Chiefs. It's the right place for me to deliver this message. A lot of people forget who the hell I am. I had a successful career on the mic. Even I forgot who the hell I am. This past week has made me realize some things. I'm still that dog born in the hills of Pittsburgh, living paycheck to paycheck. I'm a man who wasn't handed a lot in his life, who was lucky to be blessed with great friends, and went from being an irrelevant bum to being known in every city in this country. I don't have more talent than anyone. I'm not better looking than most folks, but I have a few things people should remember me by. I want them to say he was a hard worker. He worked his ass off. He's empathetic, gave millions of dollars to his community and charities. And when I'm dead and gone, they'll say I was a loyal motherfucker. And so he says, one man has been with me since day one, Michael Cole. I am loyal to you until I'm in the soil. If anyone has something with an issue with him, then they have an issue with me. That brings him to Gunther. He says, I needed to protect Michael Cole. And after it happened, I get attacked to see myself choked out. Had my friend saying, you shouldn't do that to Gunther. He's a former world champion. I said, fuck that. If I die, I die. You got a problem with Cole, you got a problem with me. So he says, SmackDown's version of Adam Pearce, please come out here. This brings out Nick Aldis. And Aldis addresses Adam Pearce's managerial style. He says, Pearce lets chaos reign. I do things differently. Let's keep things professional. And so Pat says, I want you to lift the suspension on Gunther, and I want to fight him as soon as possible. And Aldis says, yeah, I thought that's what you wanted. I talked to Pearce. And as for lifting the suspension, the answer is no. He says, but here's what I can offer. I can lift the suspension. You can get your hands on it, but it has to be in a sanctioned WWE contest in the ring. You versus Gunther at Backlash. And then Pat says, book it.
Yeah. It was a good promo. It was a
very good promo.
I wish that they would not censor him, though.
I know.
Him dropping a fuck that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, it was still good. It's still really good.
No, it was. Yeah. No, it was very good. It was very good.
Oh, you know someone who that Rusev should feud with?
Pat McAfee?
Finn Balor.
Yeah. Oh, wait, though.
He loses all the time.
Finn needs a win. Finn needs a win.
Rusev needs to reawaken something within Finn so Finn can recognize his immense talents and go on a winning streak.
So you're saying he feuds with Rusev, Finn equals pin, but then after the Rusev feud, Finn equals win.
Yeah.
Now, I like
Ultimately,
what
the
you're
push
cooking.
does happen.
I like what you're cooking. I like it. Speaking of Finn Balor, Larson Judgment Day is still a mess, so they're backstage. They all welcome J.D. McDonough back. Finn says, hey, I didn't know you were coming back. J.D. says, I told Dom I thought I'd get back to you. I should have told you, I know. And Liv interjects and says, are you guys getting ready for your match? And Finn's like, what? And J.D. says, look, Liv decided we deserved a shot. So we went to Nick Aldis. So she went to Nick Aldis, and we fight the War Raiders for the titles, for a title shot. And Finn's like, wow, what, you didn't tell me about this. He says, I'd really like to be kept in the loop here. And so he walks off. Carlito says, everybody's going to be champion. Maybe Carlito needs to be champion too.
That'd be cool when he takes by the apple.
Then we had War Raiders versus Judgment Day. Oh my God, New Day had me cracking up.
I know.
They were talking so much shit about Ivar.
Yeah, they were.
They were like, when he does the crossbody into the LED, into the ring or whatever.
Yeah.
The apron. They're like, oh, it's so impressive that he does that. It's impressive because he's fat.
Yeah, that's what Wood said, yeah.
And Kofi was like, he's big bone. He's big bone. You can't say that. He's like, he did something else, like a moonsault or something. And Kofi was like, he didn't say it's impressive when I do it. He's like, yeah, because you don't weigh 315 pounds. And Wood says, yeah, you're not fat. Oh my God, I was cracking up. I was laughing so hard, man. That shit was hilarious.
Their crap talk was next level.
Oh, that was funny.
So ends up Penta comes out and costs Judgment Day this match. JD hits a jawbreaker on Eric, I think, heads up top. Penta comes out and pushes him off. Ivar tags in. War Raiders hit War Machine. They cover JD to get the win.
It's impressive because he's so fat. Oh, God. That's funny.
So later on, Penta's backstage with Aldis. And Aldis says, I know what Judgment Day did to you. And I won't fine you for what happened, but it can happen again. But I made a match for you versus JD next week. So in walks Chad Gable. It says, Penta, I was walking Ivy to her for a match, but I had to talk to another luchador on his descent. Thought you were slick with the victory against me on our Netflix debut, but you dropped the big one at WrestleMania. He says, you losing wasn't my favorite part of WrestleMania, though. It was watching your useless brother lose to El Grande Americano.
Yeah, and then Penta kicks the shit out of him. Says, "This is for my brother, Bentejo." He says, "You don't mess with the Lucha Brothers." Cero miedo, Bentejo. And then later on, we had Aldis and AJ Styles backstage. They're chatting. Liv walks in, says, "So sorry to tank the ratings, but I need time off to go film a movie." Apparently, she's got a big movie role in some movie.
Yeah, huge. Like it's been ever since Raw last night. People saying it's massive.
It's a big deal.
Massive
big deal.
opportunity for her.
Happy Gilmore 3. So Aldis agrees, and Dom's like, "Hey man, I need time off too." He's like, "Why do you need time off?" "I don't know. I'm the champ. I can do what I want." And Aldis says, "Okay, you need to listen to your old man more. When you're champ, you work double. You got to be here more dates." And Dom says, "What are you talking about?" And then he's like, "Now if you don't mind, I'm in the middle of a conversation here." And Dom says, "Oh, what are you guys talking about? AJ going into a retirement home? Did he break a hip like my old man?" AJ says, "No, but I could break something else." And then they walk off, and AJ says, "I think I have an idea." Oh, Dom is funny.
AJ taking an L to Dom Mysterio.
Yep, love to see
it. Stephanie Vaquer did have a match against Ivy Nile. It was awesome. She gets the win after hitting the Dragon Screw leg whip in the corner, the SBB. Really fun match.
Dude, this match was awesome. Yeah, this is really great stuff. She is so popular, man. She is so
wildly
over.
Popular.
Yeah.
Wildly popular. And then finally, Logan Paul comes to the ring, drop a promo, talks about winning at Mania. Says, again, Kansas City, you don't know greatness when it's right in front of you.
So it's funny, I told you earlier on the pre-show, I was watching Raw, and then, I don't know, Netflix.
Yeah.
I was like, fast forwarding through something. It wasn't an ad because it cuts out ads. So I don't know what the deal was. But it was a video package. I was fast forwarding through a video package. I was like, I already seen this before. And I think like it did the thing where it like skipped me to live or something. And so I had to go back. And I was like, because I missed the Logan Paul thing. And I knew it was Jey Uso because I was checking the socials. And I was rewinding, and I rewound just to the point where Jey Uso super kicks him. And that's all I needed.
That's all then you didn't miss much.
Yeah.
So then he ends up challenging Jey Uso. He wants a match for the World Heavyweight Championship because he wants it. So this brings Jey out. And Jey says, hold up. You think after 15 years I'm going to hand this over to a punk-ass YouTuber? He says, let me spit and get real. I watched Gunther beat my twin to a bloody pulp. It lit a fire that ain't ever going out. So look, this title is not given. It's earned and it's mine. You want it, come take it. 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. And then again, Logan just has the worst crap talk. It's just, oh, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Anyways, it ends with Jey super kicking him.
Yep.
So that was good. At least
that was good.
Jey got that super kick in.
That was good.
I just want to get through Backlash at this point. Honestly, it feels like Backlash can go one of two ways. Either it can be like surprisingly decent, or like worst pay-per-view of the year for WWE.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, and this is not saying much because Triple H usually puts together pretty darn good cards. This is not looking promising. That being said, you know how it is when expectations are super low, especially like what's going to be like no more than a 3-hour card. It'll probably end up being pretty fun, you know.
Hopefully.
As long as honestly, if we can sort of sit through, as long as Cena and Orton does something entertaining, which I still give them a 75% chance of doing. I'm sorry, a 25% chance of doing.
15 at most. Come on.
We shall see. Ryan K. Lamb here with a question says, seeing as people are suggesting names of wrestlers to be added to the Seth Riders, who would y'all book to be the Wheeler Yuta in the role of the Seth Riders?
Oh, wow. Nathan Frazier.
Yeah, I was about to say Nathan Frazier.
Because he's actually Seth's former student.
Yeah, makes sense. DJ Chicken says, happy Tuesday. You guys going to do any reviews of the new season of Dark Side of the Ring? So we actually did like 2, I think. Yeah, we did 2 of them.
And the Mania season happened.
And now it's like, I don't know.
I think we're at least 2 episodes behind.
Yeah, we're a couple episodes behind. So. And it's like either we don't do them or we do them all. And I think we're kind of leaning towards don't do them.
Maybe we'll do some sort of wrap-up at the end of the season. I don't know. We'll see. We kind of talked about that.
Darius says, what is the single most justified heel turn of all time? Oh, dude. History really proved HBK right on that one, huh? I think he saw it coming. He was like, I need to get away from this guy. I'm going to send him out the window.
Yeah, could be. Jack Napier.
Anonymous tip.
Says, assuming the name for Seth's faction will probably be underwhelming, but not as bad as Paragon, what name would you give them instead?
Oh, man. Wait, what name would I give the Seth Riders?
Yeah.
So I've seen The Favor. I've seen, what did you say, The Future?
Future.
That to me is still too TNA-ish.
The Vision.
That's too close to the design. What if you do this? Seth Rollins and the New Revolution.
The New Evolution, you mean?
Yeah. It's like It's like Prince's band.
Yeah.
Prince
like
and the New Revolution. Be Seth
Prince
and the
and
New
the
Revolution. Well, he's the revolutionary. That's why I said revolution.
Okay, gotcha.
I heard over said street trash. The New Dangerous Alliance. Hey, it could be the New Dangerous Alliance, the NDA.
Oh, wow.
You got to sign one of these to get in the group.
Ryan K. Lamb
Seth
says, Seth
you.
you.
Seth you.
Would it be you?
Yeah.
Sebastian Garcia asks, what is your hottest film take? Yours is, you don't think Hitchcock is all that great.
I'm still developing that particular hot take, but so far I find him underwhelming after watching 4 of his movies. Probably that the Christopher Nolan Batman movies are wildly overrated.
Yeah.
They have like, I don't know. They're wonderfully made movies in terms of like the craft, I guess. But the third one is completely bloated.
It is.
The second one gets by exclusively on Heath Ledger's performance. And the first one's actually a good movie.
Yeah, the first one's pretty solid.
It's actually a solid movie, but they are wildly overrated. People they're way too much.
We got another movie question here from Greg Morris. What is in your 90s movies Mount Rushmore?
90s movies Mount Rushmore. Oh, Goodfellas.
It's a good one.
I was going to say, is there a case to be made for Eyes Wide Shut to be there? Goodfellas, Big Lebowski, Trainspotting.
You gonna put Pulp Fiction in there?
I was thinking of which Tarantino flick to put on there. Because I think Jackie Brown's actually a better movie. Pulp Fiction is super. Oh man, but there's also Clerks out there. Yeah, then I'll put Pulp Fiction out there. Yeah.
I'll agree with Goodfellas. I got Boogie Nights in mine.
Oh damn, that's a good one. Boy, that's a good one.
Gosh, there's so many good movies in the 90s.
Damn, Clown brings up Boys in the Hood and Dazed and Confused. Dang,
Boys
those
in
are
the Hood
good
is so
ones
good.
too.
Man, let's take some thought.
There's a lot. Oh, dude, Cody brings up Seven. Fuck.
Yeah, Seven's good.
Seven is so
really
good.
Yeah, I got to think about that.
We'll give it some more thought. Doc here says, if you could rebook an Attitude Era angle in 2025 WWE, which angle would it be and with who? I would give Judgment Day a higher power, and then it just ends up being Finn.
It's like, it was me all along.
It was me all along. DJ E says no mention of Heat. I'm actually not a huge fan of Heat.
I like Heat. I I like Heat.
I think Heat is overrated. It's a good movie, but I think it's overrated.
I almost mentioned Heat and then Out of Sight.
Oh, Out of Sight's a terrific movie.
Out of Sight's fantastic, yeah.
Soderbergh is low key, just dude. Fucking, I can't recommend The Nick enough.
That's a good show.
That might be like a top 5 TV show for me all time. God damn, it's so good.
Let's see here. Matt Linder here says, "You guys seem certain that the horrible main event of Mania was done intentionally as part of Cena's ruining wrestling. I guess I'm just wondering why, when the rest of the world believes it as a match wrestled with the intention of being good, that just wasn't. Thanks, guys." I think we're just trying to make sense to see if there is a purpose behind such a bad match main eventing WrestleMania.
I'm not certain of anything.
I'm not.
I've never claimed to be certain of that.
No, it's merely a theory.
It's a theory. I think it's just as likely that Cena just put on a dog shit match.
Yeah.
I'm not certain about anything. But, you know, we like to think things out. I mean, I'm not going to outright just be like, oh, God, he just put on a dog shit match because he didn't know how to put on a good match when we've seen otherwise in the past. Mm-hmm. We like to think a little bit more about things here at the Stephen Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast.
We try to.
Apparently, I said that yesterday. I said the Stephen Wrestling Pro Wrestling Podcast.
I made a face. I didn't want to belabor the point.
Rocket Man LM says, which wrestler do you think had the WWE machine behind them but failed to get over for personal reasons? Jeez, that's a heavy one. Who do you think had the WWE machine behind them? Who do you think Vince was like, let's push this guy?
I mean, there were so many like huge muscular dudes in the early mid-aughts that it seemed like Vince wanted to push and none of them got over.
He gave a lot of people a try.
A lot of people are saying Del Rio.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's actually a good one. That is a good one. They really tried with him, man.
Yeah. Nick Cruz says, what do you guys think the original plan was with Sami had Kevin Owens not gotten hurt? The current story feels a little out of nowhere. I mean, they're on different shows, so I didn't expect Sami to necessarily feud with Owens right out of Mania. I get why they're putting Sami with Seth. I get it. At least from the first, bit here on Raw last night. I don't know. I get it. I understand why. But I felt like as a situation, they had an opportunity to add some additional dimension to Sami's character. Instead, they chose not to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It felt kind of underwhelming in that respect.
Ignacio's got another movie question. Says, what's a better war movie, Full Metal Jacket or Saving Private Ryan? He says, my son and nephew have been arguing about this for like 3 days. They are, dude, I'm not going to, it's kind of apples and oranges.
They're very different.
They are very different movies trying to accomplish very different things. Yeah. Full Metal Jacket is more of a horror movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just set in a war.
Yeah.
That being said, Saving Private Ryan's a pretty powerful movie. I thought it was goofy when they did that morphing shit at the end.
Yeah, it was.
They could have left that shit out.
I know.
But in terms of like the war scenes, I mean, again, just a spectacularly crafted movie. Some really excellent performances in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of nobody's right or wrong in that particular argument.
Yeah. Lord Ziffer says, today is my 34th birthday. My question is, if it were your birthday party, what wrestler would you want to show up for a photo op? Happy birthday, Lord Ziffer.
Oh, probably Heel New Day. They're hilarious, dude. Shit, that was so funny.
That was funny.
Oh, wow. Richard A. says, what would you want Rusev and his jacked body redeemed from your life forever? So if we wasted our talent,
my jump shot.
Oh, there you go. Boy, fuck. We were both struggling yesterday.
Yeah, that's what happens when we play full court. No legs.
Let's see here. JHBMC says, guys, do you think Gunther should have beaten up McAfee before the WrestleMania match to show Jey, I'm going to hurt people that like you the same way he beat Jimmy to add spice to the story? No, I think it was fine him doing it post-Mania.
Yeah, it was Gunther lashing out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it makes a bit more sense for him to do it afterwards.
Yeah. A lot of questions today.
Johnny Ruiz says, do you think it's odd that Seth and crew don't seem to care about the world title yet? Just wait on that one.
Adam Beveridge says, what are your thoughts on the trailer for the Smashing Machine?
I don't know what that is.
That's the Rock's movie, the Safdie Brothers movie.
Trailer's
finally out.
It's probably really good. Safdie Brothers are fucking Ignacio. Tell your kids to watch Good Time. Holy shit, I love that movie. Hidden Gems too. Is that the name of that movie? The Sandler
Uncut
one?
Gems.
Uncut Gems. Sorry. Yeah. God damn, that's a good movie. It's just an
pretty
anxiety attack the entire time. Like, why does this guy keep doing these things?
Yeah, it's a popular genre of drama these days where it's characters who consistently make wrong choices.
Yeah,
bad choices.
Yeah,
like Ozark.
Yeah,
just time and again, you got choices there, continually making the wrong.
I had to step out of that one, man. I had to get away from that one. You know what that genre kind of reminds me of? Scorsese's Mean Streets. That De Niro character. It's like, what the fuck is he doing this entire time?
Yeah, continually making the wrong.
This guy is just making a horrible decision after horrible. I mean,
a lot of times in Succession, characters are making the wrong choices.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Yeah, but with Succession, it's funny because like there's so much at stake, but all these characters are going to be fine. You know what I mean? It's like with Ozark, it's like, oh my God, stop! You're a parent. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
When you have
so many of those choices are literally life and death in Ozark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, I tried to read as many questions from names that were unfamiliar because a lot of the names always get play, and I think all the other questions we've talked about, to a degree. What about you? Got any other ones out there?
Oh, there's a lot of questions here. Colby Cole here says, after this hopefully one-off match with Otis, who should Rusev feud with?
Oh, okay. We sort of mentioned that.
Oh, I guess we did, yeah.
Finn Balor.
Sad Donut says, was tonight WWE's way of saying the World Heavyweight Championship is just an upper mid-card belt? Pitting Jey against Logan as his first main feud as champion feels like a step back.
Buddy, they've been basically telling us it's a upper mid-card title for
since its inception, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, you can maybe say, oh, Seth Rollins, gave it legitimacy in its first, but
never main evented pay-per-view though.
Yeah, I know. It's one thing not to main event a pay-per-view, but to have it on somebody who really has never been a perpetual main eventer also really does it a disservice, in my opinion.
Dr. Al Hazared, sorry if I got the name wrong. Do you think that the result of Liv doing a Hollywood movie will help or hinder her in-ring career?
I think it'll help because whenever somebody goes away and comes back, they're a bigger deal.
Yeah. Wow. Tom here says, how bad does Gunther need to beat Pat before Cole challenges him to?
Bring back the orange singlet. Bring back heel Michael Cole.
Yeah. The headgear too.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
So he doesn't get cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
All right. And I guess we can end on this one. Son of the Pakistani belt maker.
Oh, yeah.
Says, I don't care, but Joe Hendry should be the one to beat Cena, given that he mentioned it in an interview. He's put that out there. I believe, it's less of a question, more just a statement. It says, I believe in Joe Hendry. Not even really a question.
I believe in Joe Hendry, but there's a limit to how much I believe in Joe Hendry. And beating Cena is well past that limit.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow with our hot takes episode. Thanks for watching.